So we're into the final month of the year, but let's talk about that penultimate month of the year. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another monthly wrap-up, this time for November of 2023. Getting really close to 2024. Very exciting times, but we got to kind of finish up with 2023 before we can start doing all that, right? And that's what we're going to kind of do today, guys, as I wrap up the month of November. Another fun month on the channel. I did have a vacation, so I got to read a little bit more than I had originally planned to, and that's always a good time. But let's go ahead and start with what I read in the month of November. I read 5 novels and 5 manga, and some really exciting ones on here. Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb. Enjoyed it quite a bit. I had people being like, I don't know how you're going to feel about it because the way you felt about the end of Tawny Man. This is a little bit more of the slice of life stuff that I think that Robin Hobb is really good at, and I was really invested in that story. I love the way that you're getting some POV, not just from Fitz in this one. That's very exciting, and it really helped to kind of fix some of the problems I have. We're never getting to see what anybody thinks of Fitz, so I think that was a really nice touch that she did put on that novel. I'm very excited to continue with that because that one did kind of end on a cliffhanger. A lot of people told me you're going to want to read Fitz and the Fool back to back, and I understand that now. For sure. I might end up doing like I'm doing with The Expanse, but we'll get to that another time. How about Empire of the Dam by Jay Kristoff? I was lucky enough to get a review copy from Mr. Kristoff himself. Very excited to read that. Can't really talk a ton about it, guys, because it is still under embargo. Let me just say that I did like it a lot. The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. This was a reread. Now, I know I said I was going to quit with the rereads. The reason this one kind of got past that little prerequisite there is that because I do plan to continue with Kingsbridge starting next year, and it had been like 27 years since I had read Pillars of the Earth, so I thought that justified rereading one of my favorite books I've ever read. And yes, on this reread, guys, it is every bit as great as it was in my memory, probably even better. Like I said, when I was reading that as a teenager, I had never read anything that brutal, that dark before. There's a lot of things in there. It's just like, wow, I can't believe that we were able to find this in my high school library. I've said that about the Stephen King books, but with that one, that was really my first experience with anything kind of that. I don't want to call it grimdark. I mean, history is the most grimdark thing out there, but it was some things that I thought were sure. I don't remember how I reacted to that as a teenager, but it was very much enjoyable reading it this go around, and I'm excited to continue. And I'm just so happy that so many other people are starting Pillars of the Earth now, or have it, they purchased it and they plan on reading it sometime next year, because it is one of the best books I have ever read. Tiamat's Wrath by James S.A. Corey, book number 8, guys, in The Expanse. What I did with that, what I was talking about with the Robin Hobb one, is I waited until the end of the month to read Tiamat's Wrath. That way, at the beginning of the next month, I could pick up the final book, Leviathan Falls, and that's what I'm reading right now. It was a very good decision. So I thought about doing that for Fool's Assassin. That way I could go right into Assassin's Fate in January, but I have other plans, which I'll talk about soon. But Tiamat's Wrath, guys, again, I never expected. I thought that Nemesis Games was going to be like the peak of the series for me. And 7 and 8 have both been kind of on par, maybe better than that book was. And so I really just think like the first 4 Expanse books, it was good. I was enjoying it. But ever since book 5, it has just hit another level, and it has never let go. And it's going to be one of my favorite series ever. It really is just that good. And I'd say I'm coming up around the halfway point of the last book right now, and I'm really dreading it ending, because it's just been a blast reading through that series this year. And Tiamat's Wrath was just superb. And then the one I didn't expect, guys, I did pick up another Drizzt book, which was The Legacy by R.A. Salvatore. This is book number 1 of The Legacy of the ℓ. Now, this is the 3rd sub-series within the Legend of Drizzt. This one I didn't really expect it to. A viewer sent me a visual encyclopedia of Drizzt, and I just got really nostalgic. And I said, you know what? It's been almost a year since I read a Drizzt book. I need to pick one up. And I picked up the Legacy, and it was very good. Very good. It was one of those things where you kind of just knew that Drizzt past was eventually going to come back to haunt him, and it has. And I'm very anxious to continue with the Legacy of the ℓ. Very much the same feeling I had as when I read Icewind Dale, when I read Dark Elf. It's just I really love those characters. and I just want to go on more adventures with them, and that seems to be the way we're going to go. And then I read 5 volumes of One Piece, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. That is where I am at right now. So One Piece continues to impress me. I did have some struggles with Whiskey Peak, wasn't that good, but then Drum Island was really, really good. And just continues to show that Oda Sensei is very much the master of backstory. He continues to just nail every backstory that comes up. And it doesn't have to be one of the main characters. It can be a character who was just introduced. That just happened in number 19. Is I feel like you got a character you just got introduced to, and boom, we're going to give you a history of not only him, but this town that they're traveling to. And it's just like, wow, so good. So every time I think that One Piece is just this wacky, fun, goofball adventure, he'll do something out of nowhere that completely surprises you and just kind of hits you right here. And I think that's what makes this series special. So, One Piece. What can I say besides what I've said the last few months? I was very wrong, guys. One Piece is good. It's easy to see why this is such a popular story. But in the end, guys, there can only be one when it comes to a book of the month. Well, I got a list first, guys, is I don't count rereads because, look, Pillars of the Earth was the best book I read this month. I mean, again, that's an all-timer for me. But I don't count rereads on these lists. I also don't count manga, so that can't go in here either. I just count novels for book of the month. So no collections, nothing like that. But what I will count is review copies, guys, and that is why I'm going with Empire of the Damned by Jay Kristoff. Now, I know some people are like, oh, that's not fair. You're probably a book that not everybody has read. Well, here's the deal. I think it comes out, in February? I can't put it as my book of the month for February when I didn't read it that month. So you guys will just have to deal with me here. And I think you guys should take it as a positive because that's me saying that this book is very, 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 very good. I think if you loved Empire of the Vampire, you're going to really, really enjoy what he does with this one. Gabriel is still just an amazing character. And I love that relationship between the two main characters, let's put it that way. For me, it feels like it gives me everything I wanted The Witcher to be. And it does still feel like what I wanted the series of Witcher to be, because he's a vampire, but it does kind of feel like that Monster Hunter kind of storyline that he's going with. But again, the relationship between the main two characters very much gives me what I wanted between Geralt and Ciri in that series, and I feel like you're getting it more in this series. It's really, really, and I know that's a weird comparison because I don't feel like anyone else is making that comparison, but that's just the vibe I get. Is like, this is what I wish that The Witcher kept doing. And with this, like I said, I can't talk too much about it, guys. Just say that, again, if you didn't like Empire of the Vampire, this one isn't gonna flip you because it does very much feel like the next day kind of thing. It really does just pick up right where the first book left off, and it just keeps going with that story. And I think I really just seem to love about this is a lot of the times I say I don't want them to go back and forth between the present day and the backstory, the flashback. With this, I feel like they're both good. And every time I would think, in a regular story, I feel like it would take you out of it when he goes back to, Gabriel telling his story to this person that's chronicling it for him. But I love those bits just as much. And it feels like it almost feels like the reader busting out, being like, wait, this part of your story, can you explain what you mean by this? I love the way he does that. It's good. So again, Jay just continues to bring up some of the craziest slang, I guess you would say, in these books. But he really does that thing, much like I kind of said, One Piece is like, you'll just be having fun. It's a and look, this is a bleak world. It really is. Day's Death does not joke around. But, he has the humor and stuff like that kind of keeps you there. But then he will just completely drill you with something emotionally powerful. And guys, the way this book ends, you're going to be begging for book 3. It's really good. I would not put it as my book of the month just out of excitement, because I've gotten review copies before and they haven't been my book of the month just because I was excited about it. You get book of the month because, well, you're the best thing that I read this month, and Empire of the Damned was that without a doubt. So Jay Kristoff, I feel like he levels up with every book. I feel like he just gets better and better, and this is no change to that rule, and I'm very excited for where book number 3 goes. Empire of the... I don't know. I have no idea where he's going to go with the title of book number 3, but hopefully I can talk to Jay on the channel again. We have said we want to get together and do something before the book comes out again on the channel, and I'm excited to do that. And guys, I'm excited for you guys to read this because it's really, really good, and I can't wait to talk to you a little bit more in depth about it. My review will be coming on release day, because I like to do that on release day. Just to me, it seems it's like a party, like a release party. I'm old enough, guys, when you would go to an album release party at midnight. That's kind of how I like to treat it, because it's fun. It's a lot of fun. How about some channel growth, guys? Yes, fourth quarter is historically down on the channel, and that does continue here. 1,524 new subscribers. That's down 433 from October. So obviously not the direction you'd like to be going. 369,000 views. That's down 46,000 from October, and 61,000 hours watched. Also down 4,000 from October. So back-to-back months of 3 down arrows. Again, something you never want to see as a content creator. But again, it's just the holidays, man. It's just people are busy and they're just not hanging around and watching YouTube. It happens every year. October, I say it's because I focus so much on horror. And then it's on November, December. Just people are doing stuff. They're shopping. They're spending time with family. And I get that. And you just kind of hope that it kind of turns around once the calendar flips to 24. But again, I'm putting out less content too. So I think that's going to play into it a little bit. I did decide to go down to just like 2 videos and a weekly update each week, just because I felt like I was neglecting my family a little bit. I was kind of being a jerk sometimes to them, because I was like, I can't do that because I got to get this done. Leave me alone, and I never wanted to do that. That was never what it is. So, I'll still put out like 4 videos a week sometimes, like I did this week. I was on vacation, but for the most part, I'm down to like 3 videos a week if you count the weekly update. So that's going to happen. These numbers were going to go down a little bit, but I'm still having a good time, and I hope that you guys are too. Let's move along, guys, to most popular content. I made 13 videos, 1 short, and 2 live streams this month. So let's look at some of these most popular ones on the channel here. Obviously, the big winner this month, most anticipated books of 2024. As of this recording, it has 19,000 views. That's obviously going to generate a lot of interest, because there's books that people don't know if they're coming out next year. They want to know if they're going to be reading the same books I plan to read. And there's some things that will be debatable. It's people that just wish listing, hoping that a book comes out next year. But I try to kind of focus on both, the books that I know for sure do have a release date, and the ones I'm hopeful for. And that is what I kind of went with that method on that video. And I think I broke some hearts on that when I told them, guys, Red God's not coming next year. But hey, I would love to be wrong. I'd love to be surprised. But that's just where it is. The book haul for October of 2023. That's always one of the most popular videos every month. I love doing book hauls because I think they create so much conversation. I get to talk about some books I don't plan to maybe read right now, I haven't read yet, ask for a little feedback. I get to say thank you for the wonderful things you guys continue to send me every month. And I get to shine a light on some of those independent authors. That's always a nice little thing that I do like to do here on the channel. Standalones and palette cleansers for 2024. That has 12,000 views. You read a lot of big epic fantasy books. You kind of want some some tasty little treats between those, something that isn't going to kind of weigh so heavily on you as some of those, those 900-page door stoppers out there. You want something shorter, and not necessarily, because I do have some standalones on there that are massive, like Shogun's massive, but I did put it on there. And then some of the shorter things, they might not necessarily be standalones. They might be part of a series, but they are a little shorter, or they're just kind of a nice change of pace, or you can kind of treat them as a standalone, like I did Lonesome Dove last year, and I like to put those on there. But always very, very popular content when you're previewing the next year. As you can see with the other one here, the new series on my 2024 TBR that are in permanent ink. What that means is that it is series I'm going to be starting next year without a doubt. At least book number 1. I'm not guaranteeing I'll finish those series next year, but I do plan to start some of these new ones. I tried to curb it a little bit because there was a couple from last year that rolled over that I was unable to get to because I wanted to focus on finishing Realm of the Eldlings and the Expanse. So a couple of series just kind of fell by the wayside, and they just kind of rolled over onto this year's. And I tried to make the list a little shorter this year, so I didn't feel like I had to. I don't like being a liar. I don't like putting stuff on here that I don't intend to get to. So I don't think I was intentionally lying or anything like that. It's just, sometimes real life gets in the way and you're not able to get everything in. But that had 12,000 views. And then number 5, Slump Busters. This is Avoiding Reading Burnout. That had 10,000 views. And that's really, like I said in my weekly update, is that there's no real magic bullet for reading burnout. It's just you got to kind of find something that works for you. So I recommend what I do. I flip genres. I stick to some series that have some shorter entries and can be treated as kind of standalones, like a Drizzt or Dresden Files, and just some authors that work for me. Like Michael Crichton, like Stephen King, where they've got the standalone book, like Blake Crouch, where you got like the less than 500 words. You got usually a cast of less than a dozen characters. You don't really have to memorize a bunch of lands and territories and monarchies and things like that. It makes it a little easier, so I like to focus on a lot of those books, and I hope that helps some people out there. Because reading burnout, very, very real. It is. And, I want you guys to keep reading all the time. So I definitely think that those things will help you change some genres sometimes. I think instead of just reading 900-page fantasy book after 900-page fantasy book. Oh, this one's a shorter one. This one's only 750 pages. Switch genres sometimes. Pick up a thriller. Do something a little light, a little horror novel, or something every once in a while. Or, hey, pick up a manga. Those work too. So some favorites of mine that didn't really make the top 5 that I really, really liked. I did a new good and the bad video. And instead of focusing on a book or a series or an author, this time I got to focus on Goodreads, the popular website. I say that because I feel like that's a website that a lot of booktubers just love to drag. And I talk about all the things there. I talk about the things that really get on my nerves about it. I talk about the things I really like it for. And I talk about how, for what I want to use it for, it does the trick. So sure, it's annoying that it's sluggish. I wish the rating system was better and things like that. But the overall community is massive there. And that's what will keep it, really the go-to site for chronicling what you're reading, I think, over any of its competitors right now, just because of the huge stranglehold that they have on the market. And then I did a couple of chats and live streams. I talked with Madison Goodyear. I talked with her about our favorite Stephen King stuff. And the King Palaver was something I did for a while, and I just kind of let it go because I didn't know anybody that was as wild about me when it came to Stephen King. So I just want to talk about all the Stephen King stuff that we love. And I think she's up to like 30 Stephen King books now, so I felt like she kind of met that criteria. And I always love talking to Madison. It's one of my best friends. And then Christopher Rocchio, another great friend, author of The Sun Eater. We got together because we had actually planned to get together to talk about Dune Part 2. And, it got delayed, but we still had that time kind of just etched out of our schedule. So we said, hey, let's just get together and do a second Talk About Nothing. Now, it's kind of unfair because the first time I had Christopher on, it wasn't really a Talk About Nothing. I kind of retroactively made it that. We really were just talking about the Dune trailer and me reading Berserk for the first time. So this one was a little bit more of a Talk About Nothing. He doesn't read anything while he's writing, and he is writing his final book right now. So we talked a lot more stuff that was a little bit away from books, but there's plenty of book talk on there. And there's a lot of stuff if you are an aspiring author and you want some advice. He definitely gives a lot of that in there. But Christopher, just a great dude. I see people, I guess they enjoy those because a lot of people are saying they wish that me and him would have like a monthly talk or a podcast or something like that. I came up in podcasting, so I miss doing that, honestly. And that's why I created Talk About Nothing. Because I would love to just have a Joe Rogan style, podcast where we just talk about whatever comes up, and most of that's going to be book stuff, sure, but we also talk about TV, we also talk about real life. It's fun. It's fun to do those things. But I'm always glad to have guests on this channel. That is still my favorite thing to do, is talk to other creators. Some channel goals for December. Like I said, I'm not really paying attention. Once I got to 100,000, I'm not even paying attention really to subscriber count anymore until I do this and see, how good or bad I did for the month. But I have a heavy TBR in December, and I do have another vacation. Before you guys freak out and say how many vacations you get, we had some use or lose it time, and you better believe I'm going to use it. So they usually let you roll over more, but they changed it this year. So I had to take a vacation in November and in December. Had to, guys. But I think that will help me be able to get some of these heavier books out. I think I got 6 books on there right now. But I really just want to focus on finishing The Expanse and almost finishing The Realm of the Eldlings because of spooky season. I fell a book behind on Realm of the Eldlings, so I'll finish it in January to December. But that's fine. I don't feel like Assassin's Fate's going to be any different if I read it in January versus December. But I'm going to be finishing up The Expanse this week. And it's very, very bittersweet, but really just start working my way through all my 2023 wrap-up material. In November, I do all my preview stuff for the next year, and December, I wrap up the current year. So I got 4 videos coming out that's going to be end-of-the-year content that I'm very, very excited to do. One actual new one on there, and we're taking a look at some of my bigger surprises. I'm going to be doing that one this week. Should be a lot of fun. But really, I think what December is just going to be is just, recharge the batteries for 2024. Get ready for what is to come. It's exciting times, when you wrap up some long series and you're going to be checking out some new things, getting some books off your bucket list like Shogun. Last year for me, that bucket list book was Lonesome Dove. So it's exciting times always when you kind of roll into a new year. Although nothing in life actually changes when it comes to reading, it just feels like a fresh start and everyone gets a clean slate. That's what New Year is all about, right? But that's what I've got to look forward to in December. What are you guys looking forward to in December? And what was your book of the month for November? What was your favorite or least favorite video I put out this month? Those things are always fun to talk about down below. So again, guys, this is a welcoming community. Anything you want to talk about, we can. And I would love to talk to you. So drop in the comments, guys, and I will talk to you there.